Welcome, football fans. It's time for week number 8 of picks and predictions for the NFL 2023-2024 season. Before we even get underway, though, why don't we recap week number 7? And, not so hot. Definitely not my worst week, as we all very well know. Definitely not my worst week, but unfortunately, a lot of these games did not go well. Fortunately enough, I'm not that downtrodden about it because very few people did very well this week. I think the winner of this week in my pool only had 9 points total. So it having 5 points, only 5 wins this last week does suck out of a total of 13, but it's not nearly as bad as it could have gone, especially since a lot of the games didn't go how people expected. Thursday night sort of went how I thought. Jacksonville won over New Orleans, not as handily as I thought they would. They still won. Then Chicago beating Vegas, who, Sunday starts off with Chicago, and handily do the Bears take Vegas to town. Next up, we have Cleveland over Indianapolis, and that was right down to the wire. And I said, okay, I'm glad I got the W, but wow, what happened there? Then Buffalo losing to New England. What? Washington losing to the Giants. What? And then Tampa Bay barely losing to Atlanta. So that game, the other two were sort of like, all right, what the hell happened? Atlanta, Tampa Bay, I just picked Tampa Bay because they were at home. So that one sort of was more of just a flip coin choice. But the other two before it, and because, of course, the Bears actually showed up, I'm already in the red at that point, and it doesn't get much better because Baltimore stomped the Lions, absolutely destroyed the Detroit Lions, and it's just like, what happened? Like Baltimore was on fire, and this is what has always been my problem with the Lamar Jackson Baltimore Ravens, is that they just put up 38 points against the Detroit Lions, an above average team, and only allowed them to score 6. Next week, Baltimore will barely be able to score a touchdown and lose by a field goal. It's just the inconsistency that happens with Baltimore has always bothered me. You see Baltimore for 2-3 weeks in a row, they're averaging over 30 odd points. Then all of a sudden, they suck for the next 2-3 weeks, scoring barely 14 points on the board. Why? What is the difference? So Baltimore showing their old ways that I've always had to contend with. I don't mind the Baltimore Ravens, but constantly they do this shit. Had I known that Baltimore was going to be that Baltimore Ravens, a lot of people would have picked against the Lions for that one. So either way, then the Rams losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That made no damn sense, though. Then again, I didn't get to see that game, but I heard there was some sort of controversy about that one. Steelers, the refs apparently won that game for them or something like that. So I think that's the game people were talking about. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to actually watch that particular game, so I'm obviously wondering how the Rams lost to the Steelers, but it is what it is there. Seattle beating Arizona was a no-brainer, and I did get that pick. Green Bay losing to Denver. Once again, Denver's so odd. Russell Wilson used to be such a good quarterback on Seattle Seahawks, and then ever since he's been in Denver, it's been sort of wishy-washy. But and Denver's not really a good team, but also Green Bay with no Aaron Rodgers isn't looking so hot this year either. So I don't know. That was another coin flip toss. Obviously, I should have given the 3 points to Denver at home because they won by 2 points. So is what it is there. Kansas City beating up. I do clean up a little bit here in the later games because Kansas City did beat up on the Chargers and Philadelphia did beat up on Miami. Then at the end, though, San Francisco losing to Minnesota Vikings. And that wasn't, not to take it away from Minnesota, but the Vikings played good. San Francisco, had the Dallas Cowboys fought that San Francisco team, we would have curb stomped them. That San Francisco looked like shit. Okay? The San Francisco that showed up against Dallas was a Super Bowl winning level team. The one that showed up in Minnesota, no. No, not even playoff contending worthy. They were all over the place. That was a painful... If I was a 49ers fan, and I don't... since I was born in the 90s, I don't have that rivalry with San Francisco. I actually don't mind the 49ers. I don't have that Dallas and San Francisco fans don't like each other thing, because I wasn't around in the 80s and the 90s as a football fan, so I never had that. But fact of the matter is, like, what are you doing? If I was a 49ers fan, I'd be pissed. I would be throwing things at that television. Just all the terrible play calling, terrible playing. We're like, I don't know, did everybody go party the night before or something? Like, because that team, wow. Just, wow, like an Owen Wilson level, wow. You know, like just dumbfounded how that went down. Once again, doesn't really matter to me because San Francisco, Minnesota, both teams, I'm sort of, I don't love or hate them. So, but unfortunately, of course, they lost, and I picked San Francisco. Now, granted, almost everybody picked San Francisco, so nobody really got a point for that one. We totaled this week with 5 points out of 13, as I said. Not great, but where the winner of the week only had 9, and I think third was already 7, so it was like 9, 8, and 7. I didn't do that bad comparably to the other 60 people, so I didn't fall too far behind. I do wish, obviously, this was a week to sort of get those 9, 10 points and really leapfrog a lot of the people in the pool, but either way, it is what it is. Let's just jump into week number 8 and our picks there. Now, week number 8 is already well underway because I was setting up new office furniture and stuff this week. I didn't have the computer set up to record before Thursday night game. We did pick Buffalo at home to win, but Tampa Bay at home just lost to the Falcons. The fact that it's only a 1-possession game in Buffalo doesn't speak... You could argue it speaks well to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I think it speaks a very bad story to the Buffalo Bills. I don't know what's happening with that Bills team. I really don't. I don't know what's going on. I'm grateful for the win, but it's sort of a non-game since most people, especially at home, pick Buffalo, so it doesn't exactly leapfrog me or jump an extra point on anybody, really. Not a whole lot of people. I don't know if anybody actually picked Tampa Bay, but this is a big week because now we're outside of the bye week. We're back to 16 full games. We need at least an 11, 12-point week here, so I am, even with last week, picking a couple of Hail Marys. I'm still going to be picking some. For example, we're starting off with in Dallas. Dallas is going to beat up on the Rams. I'm sorry, if the Rams could lose, regardless of potentially a bad call, as I said, I didn't read into it, so don't quote me on that one, but apparently a bad call was the difference between the Rams winning and losing against the Steelers. The fact that it was still down to the wire with those two teams, Dallas is definitely going to make their recovery and stuff, and even though they didn't look so hot against the Chargers, there's a little bit of disconnectivity and stuff. Hopefully it was worked on this weekend. It is in Dallas. I feel like Dallas is going to win by probably about 1 possession to 2 possessions. Yeah, I'm pretty confident actually in even saying 2 possessions. Dallas is going to beat the Rams. Then we are in Green Bay, and a classic rivalry, the Vikings and Green Bay, but an Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers are not showing any real consistency, so we're going to go with the Vikings, who are coming off high off of a win, and once again, that's always dangerous. Minnesota, not exactly the star of the show this year, just beat San Francisco. And, you know, as I've always said, sometimes teams come in after beating a big name, and they're either, that means it's time for their time to shine the following week, or they rest on their laurels and say, yeah, we just beat one of the best teams. And they're just like, we can beat anybody and stuff, and they get too high on the hog. It's never a definite thing which way that wind's going to blow. So I am picking Minnesota while they're in Lambeau Field, while they're in Green Bay, but once again, it's odd. Will Green Bay show up? Is Minnesota going to use that same level of energy they were up against San Francisco? Once again, San Francisco, however, shot themselves in the foot. Not so much the Vikings dominating them. So it's sort of a tough pick, but I am going with Minnesota because I feel like more people are going to pick Green Bay at home. Then Tennessee at home over Atlanta. I'm only giving the 3 points. I'm just picking Tennessee for the sole reason that Tennessee is at home. But I think that game is definitely going to be a one possession down to the wire. Then we have Indianapolis over New Orleans, because once again, the Saints suck. Then Miami over New England. Yeah, I'm still going with Miami over New England. I don't think that, New England is in a bad place right now with, the Tom Brady, the Patriots era is over. It's just done. It's over, but that doesn't mean they're going to lose every game either. However, Miami, on paper, is still a better team than New England, so we are going with Miami. We are 100% going with Miami in Miami, Dolphins for that one. Now, here's the one that everyone's going to pick, the Jets. Now, here's a game where home field advantage doesn't exactly mean much because we have the Jets at the Giants, but once again, New York, New York. Hi, how you doing? I'm New York. What's your name? New York. And I'm going against grain here. Hail Mary attempt. Giants. Let's go Giants. The Jets are going to be the big pick. Almost everyone's going to pick the Jets. This is my Hail Mary to get a point. I still think that Zach Wilson has started to come into his own a little bit, but it doesn't mean they're great. It does not mean that the Jets are ready to attack everyone, and they are going to lose, and I really feel that they're going to lose because there is no real home field advantage here in that regard, and I just think it's time to pick the Giants. The Giants, listen, I've listened to a lot of Giants fans who haven't picked them all year yet, and they're hesitating, and they're thinking Giants and Jets have always hated each other to this crazy degree, just both being New York teams and stuff. I have a feeling. And I'll probably be wrong, but I'm going with my gut, and I'm going with the Giants. I know it's a Hail Mary, but I got to pick them. Then we go Jacksonville in Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh apparently won that game not so nicely, so we're still picking the Jaguars to beat up on them. Philadelphia over Washington in Washington. Still going with Philly for that one. This was a hard pick for me, and in Seattle, I'm picking Cleveland to beat Seattle. It's a tough pick, in all honesty. The Browns are better on paper. But Cleveland and Seattle at least shows a little bit of consistency. They lose games they on paper should, and they win games on paper they should. Cleveland, not so much. Cleveland has lost games they should win, and won games that it's like, wow, I didn't expect that. So it's a tough call realistically, but I am going to go with Cleveland for that one. Kansas City over Denver, 100%. Don't care that it's in Denver. Baltimore over Arizona, regardless of what they did last week, 38-6 against Detroit. I am doing Baltimore. I'm going to be picking Baltimore over Arizona because I have no reason to pick Arizona at all. In any of these weeks, I have yet to pick. I don't think I've picked the Cardinals once, and there's a reason for that. So we're going with Baltimore there. I am going against the grain and picking Cincinnati, my second Hail Mary attempt here. I'm going with the Bengals over the 49ers. The 49ers aren't so high on themselves over the last week or so, and I really do think that if the Bengals capitalize on that, they can beat San Francisco in San Francisco. Another reason to make this pick, once again, is to get those couple extra points on other people. It's unlikely that the favorites column wins a whole week. I have almost never seen that. I think I saw it happen one year in like 2015 where all the favorites won in a week. So you got to pick some of the underdogs. You can't always pick favorites, and big upsets are how people pull ahead, especially when when the pool's involved. So then we're going to be picking the Chargers in LA over Chicago, though I still think that game's going to be close, maybe a field goal close. And then Detroit over Vegas, because even though Detroit looked like shit against Baltimore, I think that was more Baltimore turning on their engines, and Detroit just couldn't keep up with the pace. But Vegas disappointed me last week, and Vegas is just disappointing in general. So I never liked the Oakland Raiders, so Vegas, I never cared for the Oakland Raiders to begin with, so I've got Detroit over Vegas for Monday Night Football. And with that is week number 8's picks and predictions. Let me know your guys' picks down in the comment section down below, and we'll see you back here for week number 9 of the NFL picks and predictions. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you back next time. Sayonara.